G'day guys and welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of SuperCoach Swordplay. Today I'm here with my new co-host, my partner in crime, SuperCoach with DR. Together we have decided to collaborate YouTube channels, seeing that we talk just about every single week. The highly anticipated Swordplay podcast is up. We will be doing weekly episodes predominantly every Tuesday. We'll wait and see how we go on that one. But this is the first, just before the buys. Ryan is the founder of SuperCoach with DR, and my name is John, and I'm obviously Spiller's SuperCoach. So, yeah, together we're going to discuss a little bit of SuperCoach, a little bit of banter and other stuff, just a bit of fun more often than not. Going to be good to have you on the channel, Ryan, as co-host, and, yep, welcome to the channel, mate.
Thank you very much, Spills. Look, it's been a long time coming. It's been in the works for a little while, and as you said, we chat so much SuperCoach that we thought, well, why not get a potty out there? Hopefully it'll be a weekly one. We'll do our best to make sure we get that out there. But yeah, really excited, mate. Looking forward to it, and should be a bit of fun, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got our own segments written down as well. We'll discuss them week in, week out. It'll be the same thing, but obviously we'll go through it a bit more, being the first episode. So the first segment was, well, how do you go this week, Ryan? What was your score? What's your team looking like? That'll be an obvious one just to start the podcast. So, yeah, how'd you go this week, mate?
Look, not too bad this week. It's been a pretty solid month from me. I think it was about 4 weeks ago, I was outside the top 2K. A couple of weeks ago, managed to get back in the top 1K, and now inside the top 500 all of a sudden. So 456th overall for my ranking. So certainly can't complain with that. Had a few things go right. Tradings this week, bought in Jack McRae and Jimmy Madden, which ended up being pretty good trades, I think, in the end. So wrap with that. Look, a little bit dicey going into the buys, I suppose, but hopefully I can navigate that. But all in all, looking pretty solid at the moment, and hopefully I can maintain that top 500 rank, mate. How about yourself, bud? Successful round from you?
Oh, look, mate, not as good as you. I went 2,297, 3 points below 2,300, which was a bit stiff. Yeah, not too bad. Trading Marcus Bonampale with one trade, and then I went Madden over Waitman, which was probably the right call, I think. You really could have flipped a coin between those two, but definitely got that one right, saved a lot of money and got a better score. So, yeah, can't complain with that one, mate.
Beautiful, mate, and 3 points away. 3 points away from the old 2,300. Bloody frustrating, isn't it? Like, come on, someone else get a kick somewhere out of 22 players on the field, one kick more. But no, good score anyway. I think anywhere around the 2,300, you'll take that most weeks, won't you, mate?
Oh, mate, you could do a lot worse. And from what the other SuperCoach YouTube channels suggest, I've seen a lot of blokes with the captaincy on Grundy as well, which has been a bit of a shambles. So obviously I captained Clayton Oliver, which was, pretty good. So I got off pretty lightly there, I reckon, mate. So we're going to go on to another segment. This is going to be pretty sketchy because this is our first ever take at this. So it's probably going to turn out a bit shit house. We thought, look, we're going to upload this one anyway, and whatever there is to improve, we'll make sure we do that in episode 2. But at the moment, we're going to go into our headline. What was your major headline for this week, DR? We're going to do that every week. A little bit of a different sort of agenda, I think. But yeah, what do you got for me, mate?
I'll tell you what, mate. My headline for this week is Jack Attack. So we actually had 8 Jacks that went above the ton this week. So I do have them listed down here. So we had Jack Steele 154, Jack McRae 145, Jackie Rewalt 140, Jack Lukosius 128, Burnman Jack Billings, he even went a 110, had Crisp at 106, Zeeble at 104, and Jackie Graham with a 103. But we did also have Magin and Darling, who scored in the low 20s. So that was a bit of a whack to the other Jacks. But I think all in all, look, if you had the two boys at the top there, Steele and McRae, they combined for 299 points for this week. So headline for me, mate, is Jack Attack.
That is a cracking start, mate. That's why you're the man. That's why you got 2,000 subs, mate. That is second to none. That crumbles all over mine. Mine is completely SuperCoach irrelevant, But as an Essendon supporter, I simply could not help myself on this occasion. Mine was Bombers defy all odds and win in the West. Now, this one, look, it's not SuperCoach relevant at all, but it's a headline that I'm more than happy to state on this podcast. And what a headline it is for episode 1, being an Essendon supporter, it just meant so much to me. Everything was against the grain over there. We had Waterman against his former team who kicked the sealer, and that's special in another sense, even for SuperCoachers as well. So not completely irrelevant, but look, in the wet, mate, we turned up and we knocked them over. I think we're the first team to beat West Coast in Perth this year, mate. So super wrapped with that. And I didn't have anything SuperCoach-wise as a headline, unfortunately, but being one of the most biased Essendon supporters, I was quite comfortable to state that one, mate. So, pretty wrapped with that one. But, this is our third segment. We're just shuffling through these like they're bloody time cards. This is your segment. I'm going to leave this one with you because every week you're going to have your own rant segment called DR's Rant. This is where I'll just sit back and listen to whatever the wise man has to say and state my thoughts and opinions on that one. So, DR, mate, what ticked you off and what grinded your gears this week, mate?
Look, I'll tell you, it's been a build-up now. It hasn't been just this week. It's been from round 2. Now, in round 2, after Dangerfield went down, I had him in the midfield, so I needed to trade in a premium midfielder. And I thought that I went out and got myself a nice ticket on the express train, comfortable seats, all the way through to some quick, nice 100, 120 plus scores as a minimum each week. But unfortunately, I think I bought a ticket on the roller coaster. I'm talking about the Titch roller coaster. I'm a very, very frustrated owner, mate, and I don't know how much more I can take. I tell you what, if he wasn't really good buy cover for those tricky ones in 13 and 14, I'd be really tempted to flip this bloke because, you can't get your hopes up anymore. 1 week it's a 70-odd, bang a 140, decides to get some contested possession, use it well. And then the next week he thinks, no, I'm going to have a bit of a week off here. I'll still get a little bit of the pill because he does that each and every week. He can find 45 in his sleep, Titch, but that's not translating into good SuperCoach points, or at least on a consistent basis. So, mate, I'm sick of riding this roller coaster. To be honest, more times than not, the roller coaster's broken down and the carriage has been at the bottom because, Titch, I won't say his ceiling's gone now because he does still have a big ceiling, but consistency is not there. That's my rant. I'm a very, very frustrated Tom Mitchell owner, mate. Get out of my side, Tom.
You're gonna give him the arse.
No, I can't. Look, I talk it up a lot of the time, don't I? But, will I follow through? I don't think I can. Look, if I had a couple of extra trades up the sleeve, mate, a couple of luxury ones, I'd highly consider it. But, unfortunately, I'm probably stuck with the man. But, come on, Titch. Do something for us, mate.
It just makes no sense, doesn't it? It makes no sense whatsoever. Like 140 1 week and then 80 the next. It just, what's champion data doing to this bloke? Most hard done by guy.
Yeah, frustrated, mate. Frustrated. But rant over, mate. Rant over. Move
on.
Don't want to talk about him.
Rant over. All right. Well, this is a segment I like to call SuperCoachers Who. Now, this one is going to be a bit of fun where we're going to state 3 SuperCoachers who did this or that, whether or not it was good or bad. My first one was SuperCoachers who are trading in Isaac Heaney this week. First of all, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourself? He's cheap, he's tempting, but, mate, he could go down just like that. And, mate, it's just one of the most riskiest things I've ever seen. I'm not going to lie, I'm very tempted, but I think hindsight is going to pull myself away from that. And I reckon my judgment is better than my super coaching. So I don't reckon I'll go through with that one in the slightest. What about yourself, mate?
Oh, look, mate, I'm sort of with you there on Heaney. There's a bit of FOMO from missing out on that nice score, but look, we expect him to get some nice scores, and the injury risk is, way too much for me, mate. Look, on to me, SuperCoachers who traded in Madden over Waitman. They would be ecstatic with how this round panned out, because I know for me anyway, I did trade in Madden, and he was a big, big rookie for me this week, because when you compare him to Rowe's score, Waterman's score, even Poulter's score. If you got him in the forward line, he outscored each and every one of those blokes. So I saved 50K on going Madden. I'm a Brisbane Lions man myself. He's got the extra DPP status. You'll have that nice score in his system for the next couple. Short-term job security, looking well. So thumbs up if you trade in Jimmy Madden, mate.
Yeah. All right. My second one is SuperCoachers, who traded in Jack Steele last week before he went 150. What do you reckon on that? That's just crazy. I mean, he was so cheap, like 570K. You can't coach that. That is pure luck because we haven't seen it all year.
Oh, mate, we were talking about it on the weekend. You know, if you didn't have this bloke, he'd probably an ideal target to get in. Got a really good fixture coming up. You mentioned a couple of times he's got bloody sore shoulders from carrying the rest of his side. But we saw on the weekend what his ceiling's like, what he's capable of. So, mate, I'm not an owner. I know you are. You've got all the big dogs in your midfield. I'm a little bit jealous at the moment. And over the next couple of weeks, I think that he's going to punch out some bloody ripper scores, I think, mate. My next SuperCoachers SuperCoachers who have been writing off Dane Zorko all year. Now, I must admit, mate, even as a Brisbane Lions fan, I have been doing it for most of the year. But lucky enough, I went against my instincts, mainly due to a bit more luck, given the fact I wanted to bring Lions in, didn't have the cash, had to bring in a forward DPP instead, and it was Zorko. But I've jumped on right at the right time. This man is on fire at the moment, mate. And if you are a non-Zorko owner, then he is really hurting you at the moment because we know what those forwards are doing. They're not doing much, unfortunately. So if you're a Zorko owner, you're very, very happy at the moment. And will it be a move possibly when Lachie Neale comes back into the side to trade him out at his highest price point if you predict he's going to go back into the forward line a little bit more? So just throwing a bit of a wacky idea out there, mate. But if you traded in Zorko over the last 5 odd weeks, you'd be very, very happy.
Absolutely. All right, my final SuperCoachers who is SuperCoachers who captained Grundy. First of all, suck shit.
Ouch.
And second of all, many would have had the VC on Bonampally, which I nearly did. That's a mistake on my own behalf that I was fortunate enough to make. That's out on my round review where I captained Oliver just straight up without even knowing. I reversed my trades and I stuck with last week's captaincy option. So got out of jail there because I would have just chucked the C straight on Grundy after that. I was so hungry for it, and yeah, that one's going to hurt a few people. And yeah, I got away with that one. Whether you VC'd Gorn, who went 120, or Bont, who went 125, you're going to be sleepless nights with that 70-odd score, which is only 140 points total. So yeah, you'd be spewing with that, and yeah, very unlucky if you're one of those people.
And that's the difference, mate. When you're getting, inside the top 1K for ranks, that captaincy choice can move you up or down, I think, 100 to 200 spots just in a week. So if you went McRae last week as captain or someone like a Jack Steele over a Grundy, then you are absolutely laughing, mate. So, feel sorry for all the coaches that ended up putting the faith in Grundy, mate. Look, my final one is SuperCoachers who traded out James Jordan. How are you feeling at the moment? Well, I think you're feeling okay, depending on who you brought in. So I'm in this boat. I traded out Jordan last week. Ideally, I'd want to hold him through the buys because, look, I thought that, he can bounce back and even achieve that break even like he did. But at the end of the day, I bought in Jack McRae. So if you went up to a premium like McRae or a Steele, for example, you'd be absolutely stoked. But if you went to someone like a Jared Lyons or a Sam Walsh this week, then you probably wouldn't be too happy because they gave out some of their lowest scores of the year. I think for Lyons, it was his lowest score of the year. So depending on who you went, you may have different feelings. But for me, well, what feelings have I got? I'm sort of on the fence about it because I didn't really want to trade him out, but the reward that I got was Jack McRae. So I suppose I'm feeling good, mate. Feeling good.
Yeah, I did a similar thing. I traded Jordan to Bonampally, which was probably the right move.
Massive.
Yeah.
One trade.
I banked 300K odd from the previous week and just held it for a rainy day, and it was pissing down last week. So yeah, I decided to pull the trigger on Jordan. I don't know what he scored. I think he still went okay, but he had a break even of like 70, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah, we went. I think he went like an 88. I think it was in the end, mate. So
yeah, so he would have gone up like nearly 10.
went up a little bit.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
went up a little bit, but like nothing. It's not the end of the world in that asset. So yeah, with 366k, I thought it was probably a good time to trade in a big dog, and I thought Bonampally, it's either now or never. And look with it, I actually thought he wasn't as good as a 125. I didn't think he was deserving of a 125. Gave away a lot of free kicks and a few clangers here and there. I just thought, look, I'm expecting a 110, maybe 115, but that extra 10 points, didn't see that one coming. And yeah, if that's what he can do on a poor night, what he can do on his good night is quite alarming, I would say.
It's I'll tell you what, mate, it's scary not owning the Bont this year, because we know what his ceiling's like. He can go absolutely off chop. So as you said, if that's quite a sort of a night for him and he's pushing out a 120 odd score, then I think that's a pretty good sign, mate. I'd take it for sure.
Yeah, so you definitely agree that was the right move to get in Bonampally?
Well, look, mate, you had to pay up for him, but you're paying up for quality. And as you said, it was probably a situation now or never. And again, I brought up a couple of names, Walsh and Lyons, before. So if you brought those type of blokes in, to be pretty disappointed. There are a few premiums this week that really didn't deliver. But, the Bont, as you said, in a quiet week, went a 120 plus. Yeah, I'd still be happy, mate, if I invested in the Bont, I think.
Yeah, no, it's always good because, on the odd occasion, there are always things that we do disagree with, and they don't get stated enough because we're always so mutual and supporting of each other's decisions. So what we've decided to do is create another segment that's called Locking Horns, where myself and the great man DR will lock horns, and I'm quite scared of doing that. I don't have the runs on the board like you do, but really interesting segment where we will state something in where we will disagree with it. So you can kick us off tonight, mate. I'm pretty sure you know exactly where this is going. What do you got for me, DR?
Well, there was a little birdie that told me that a particular person I know could be a co-host on this podcast is actually looking to trade out the great man, Brodie Grundy. Now, Spills, tell me, mate, are you trading out Brodie Grundy this week?
Yeah, I am, mate. Yeah.
You're nuts. You're nuts, mate. And I want to lock horns with you on this one, and I'll tell you why. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Now, we are talking about someone that's going to be guaranteed to finish in the top 2 ruckmen for averages by the end of the season. Guaranteed, mate. I'd bet everything I own on it. My Kevin Murray Fitzroy jumper, mate. This is what I'm talking about. This is how confident I am, mate, of that happening. Now, he's going to be missing for 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so obviously we take the hit this week, but it's not a really tricky buy. Okay, I think most of us can get through without relying on Grundy to be on field. The week after, then we can trade down to Reeves from Hawthorn. Okay, so that means that we can play Gawn and Reeves on field. And then obviously the next round, round 14, we weren't even expecting him to be playing anyway. So what on earth are you doing trading this man out? What, are you going to get someone in for a week or two, let alone that person, Nick Nat, one of the most injury-prone players going around? Yeah, what's he going to get, 50% game time? Spills, what are you thinking, mate? Explain yourself, because I don't understand, mate. I'm against it. I'm off it.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'll try my best here because I've definitely been thrown under the bus, if not the train, but we'll try and justify it in the best possible manner. So, look, Grundy, he's out. He's going to be out for, obviously 2 to 3 weeks, and it includes his bye. He returns round 15, and you'll have a break even of nearly 200, I reckon. Round 15, he'll be cheap as chips, arguably priced at what Nick Nat is priced now, which is about 580k. Now, Nick Nat's coming off the back of a 160-plus score this week, only off 70% time on ground and 1 mark. If you can believe that, I can't, to be honest, which is just crazy stuff. And, it's a bit outrageous, but all my trade targets, because I've got all the midfielders, as we know, they're all value picks. So my trades aren't really that crucial. And with 13 in the bank at the moment, I think I'm in a good position with only 4 upgrades. I think I think I have 11 left with 4 upgrades, sorry, if I go through with that. And it's kind of a luxury trade, but I'm only using it a bit earlier. And I do plan on getting Grundy back around round 15. Yeah, get him back when he is priced. So it's not that risky. Nick Nat just needs to play for a month, like a month or month and a week. And if he can do that, and I can get Grundy in for what Nick Nat is priced now, and off the back of Nick Nat's massive score, and hopefully, fingers crossed, a little bit of form and durability over the buys, that'll really, I might actually make a bit of money off it. Not much, maybe 30 or 40K, but it won't be the worst thing, I don't think. And he's great coverage. It's an extra premium on field where you can have Grundy on your bench. It's a safe call, and I wouldn't blame anyone for doing that. But I'm in the top 3%, and I need to make some dramatic changes if I want to see myself in the top 1%. So having that extra premium on field will be ideal. And when that crucial round 14 buy comes around, I'll be going Matty Flynn to Reeves or Coleman. We'll see how we go. So I'm not going to get a donut in round 14, which that's going to be a pod move in itself, and just see how we go, mate. Look, if I was in your situation, which you're already in the top 500, I'm pretty sure, which is just remarkable stuff, you don't have to take these risks, where myself, I'm kind of at the top of the top 3%. So if I want to really push up there in the top 1,000, this is a make or break thing that could either put an end or a rise to my seasons. Look, high risk, high reward stuff, mate. I know it's crazy. I know you disagree. And look, I kind of do as well. But this is the sort of stuff that wins you matches or loses. But we'll wait and see, mate. I'm optimistic. Glass half full, mate. Glass half full.
Glass half full. You got to be with a move like that. But look, you've explained yourself okay there. You've explained yourself okay. And I think the important point is that people are in different situations as well. You're looking to make a pretty big move in order to move up the ranks. So, look, mate, there's no way that I'm doing it myself, but I can understand where you're coming from, at least, mate. I can understand where you're coming from.
Not really a whole lot to say there. I think I'm in hot water with that one, but that's a perfect time, a perfect segue to our new segment, which is actually my segment, and being the founder of the Rookie Reviews, this is Rookie Radar. Now, I will discuss the top 3 rookies on my radar this week. I won't talk a whole lot about them. I'll save that for the Rookie Review. Absolute promotion here. This is promoting my own segment, which I'm going to state my top 3 biggest rookies and put them in order for this week, and you can do yours as well. Number 1 for me, it's got to be Ned Reeves. Now, look, it's tough because we've got Bianco on the rise. He would be number 2. And then number 3, obviously, Coleman. Now, the reason I've got Reeves up there as number 1 is because he's off the back of an 80 and a 90. He's got Matt Flynn potential to be our next R3. You just wait another week on him. Great coverage for your ruck department. Having Bianco second as well. He's still yet to play the second game, so he's not quite on the bubble yet, whereas Reeves is got the runs on the board by 1 week, I think, and because of my structure, I think he suits mine in particular. I don't need to go Bianco yet. Reeves is good with the Nick Nat sort of combo. And then obviously I've got Coleman at number 3. Obviously, we all know about 170K rookies, mate. And it's hard to have him ranked above
R2.
Big Boz. And it's hard to have him ranked ahead of those 2, despite such great form. Lynch is going to be out for at least 5 weeks, it looks. So job security is good for the meantime. But you're paying top dollar for this bloke. Is he going to prevail? Is there a bit of Cody Waitman, R2 Bosman Blaggy about this bloke? I'm not quite sure. What would your order be, mate? Because that's mine from 1 to 3. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I agree with the 3 rookies. I agree that they're the top 3 that we certainly look at.
Yep.
I'd probably have Bianco number 1 for me over Reeves, mainly because he'll get to play 2 games before his bye, so we're hoping for a guaranteed price rise there. Can cover around 13, which I think for many midfielders is going to be really important. I love his DPP status, and I think that he's probably the safest pick because there's no injury clouds around him. You look at Reeves, and I'm not exactly sure what it was, mate, or how long he's out for, but he did have the injury symbol on him, the big red cross on Fan Footy on the weekend. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure about that, but given the fact that he's got the bye this week, I'd rather go Bianco, but I think he's the second best bet is Reeves. It's a pretty obvious one, I think, next week. Flynn down to him. And then I do like Coleman Jones as well, but as we know, bit of a higher price, but I think he can come in really, really handy before Lynch comes back on the side. So pretty good job security, I'd say, for the next 5 odd weeks, and that's maybe all we need from him. So my order mates, Bianco, Reeves, and CCJ.
To cap it off, what are the trade targets for this week, mate? What are your plans? I know you're a bit light on trades this week. What are you sort of looking at towards the buys, mate?
Well, look, to be honest, this week, mate, look, it is tempting to downgrade to some of these rookies a little bit earlier. So the 3 that we just mentioned before. But look, I'm only going to make the 1 trade this week. It is a downgrade, and I'm most likely going to go early on one of these blokes. Bianco is my man. I just need a little bit of cash in the bank in order to make my moves next week. So look, in the long term, there's 3 upgrades that I need to make in my side, a defender, a midfielder, and a forward. So the defender is going to be Lachie Whitfield. You can absolutely lock that in, mate. He will be coming into my side next week. I've made plans for that, almost guaranteed plans. So hopefully my maths is right. Remember, I'm only a primary school teacher, mate. So not any sort of a genius when it comes to the maths. But look, by my numbers anyway, I can guaranteed to get Lachie Whitfield in next week if I do go early on Bianco this week. And then in the midfield, I probably want one of the big dogs, or else my man Lachie Neale, if he comes back into the side possibly after the bye, may certainly be an option. And up forward, probably Danger, I think, is the bloke that I'd love to finish with. But it's all going to be dictated by how much cash I've got in the bank, to be honest, mate. Maybe I'll have to look for more of a value option in the forward line, like someone I think you might be looking at, a Nick Hind, for example. But look, we don't know what injuries are going to come our way. We're not sure what carnage is ahead of us, mate. So it's always good to plan ahead and have some general ideas. But look, we'll just have to go with the flow, mate, and see what the next couple of weeks deliver for us.
That's it. The man you just mentioned there, Nick Hind, he is, in fact, my number 1 trading target at this point in time. Obviously, trading in Nick Nat gives me a fair bit of cash to play with, and that is a 1 trade up from a forward rookie to a Nick Hind. Now, obviously, not having enough money for Zorko. I mean, obviously, he's way too far out of reach unless I burn another trade. Is it worth it? Probably not. And Aaron Hall and Dale as well. Too much for me to fork up. So Nick Hind, I can only just afford him by about 3K. So Grundy to Nick Nat, and then it was a Scott to Hind, and that's giving me 3K. So an upgrade and a sideways trade. I don't have to downgrade this week, and it gives me a little bit of power to get in a Bianco and a Reeves next week. A double downgrade and a potential Whitfield upgrade. I'm definitely agreeing with you on that one for next week. Perfect guy, arguably a must-have as a last defender upgrade. And in terms of the rest of the buyers, I'm just going to have to sort of let it take its place. I need Sam Welsh after round 13, so he's probably the guy I might make as my final upgrade in the midfield. It's a bit contentious, but I'm eyeing off Matt Rowell when he makes a potential return. If he plays and he's back to his best, with a high break, we could be getting him in for nearly 300K or 350K maybe at this point. So we don't know at this point in time. That's a long way away anyway. Not sure, to be honest, but and clearly Grundy as well. He's going to be coming back in my team. Hopefully, if all goes well with the big Nick Nat, he will be the one I get in. And as I said that, I just remembered something that we've discussed on a previous podcast, and it is about Nick Nat. And it was actually, we said this in our, remember the pod discussion that we did at the start of or end of last year
season. Yeah.
So I wasn't sure about that statement. So the fact, all right, so Nick Nat Nui, he sleeps on the floor. It is confirmed he does it. He sleeps on the floor, and it was just a speculation at that point. But in the what was the bloody Making Their Mark documentary on Amazon? There was actual footage like of him where it was like, oh, it's a bit weird, but I actually throw my pillows on the floor and sleep there, and I make my bed in the morning so the housekeeper doesn't get all like skeptical on it. So that's actually true. I was like, I heard this somewhere. I don't know. It's probably bullshit, but it was revealed.
Are we talking? Is there carpet, floorboards? What are we talking? What's the setup?
Floorboards, like bloody. I don't know. So that just realizing that, it's kind of like, am I trained in this fucking clown? Oh, I shouldn't swear, but yeah, this is just. It just comes to me then, and I thought, yeah, it's a bit funny, but.
Mate, I know we're not going to go rambling this podcast, so this will be a conversation for another time. But I tell you what, I've slept on floorboards for 2 nights in a row in South Korea in a Buddhist monk colony. This is a true story, mate. I'll tell you what, this is a good half an hour discussion off the podcast, I think. So I won't go off track now, mate, but I've got a couple of stories about having to sleep on the floorboards. It was not bloody comfortable, I'll tell you what, mate. So I don't know what type of a preparation that is before game day, sleep on the bloody floorboards, but if it works for the great man, I'm not going to question it, mate. But from personal experience, not too comfortable, I'll tell you what. So, well, each of their own, mate.
The only justification I can come up with for sleeping on the floorboards is if you've had a big night on the piss and you just end up there. Look, I'm not really sure about that. We can ramble on all we want, but look, something that myself and you have been trying to work on quite a lot in previous podcasts is to sort of stop rambling a fair bit like we just did then. And, well, maybe it's a good time to wrap this one up. I think it'll go for about at least 40 minutes, which is an ideal time, especially for the first one. Look, nothing too serious, a bit of fun. Look, it's good to get together once a week and we'll take turns hosting. So obviously next week you'll be the one in the big armchair, mate, doing the hosting, and
no pressure, mate. No pressure.
No pressure on you whatsoever. Not as much pressure on you as there is on me training Nick Nat. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, mate. I can't wait to collaborate with you, and it's going to be really good to do this podcast. We come up with all these really good ideas, and I wish that we did that earlier on, mate. So, yeah, thank you so much for hosting with me. And, yeah, I think we're going to make a good team, mate.
Yeah, look, as you said, mate, we're on the phone that much, hours and hours a week on end, talking about this stuff anyway. So I thought, why not, get a new channel out there, do something a little bit of fun, just a bit lighthearted, not going into extra deep analysis, because you've obviously got your rookie review. I've got the stock market that I put out as well, where we go into a lot more detail, obviously. But no, it should be fun, mate. Looking forward to having a chat from week to week. And look, I must ask you, mate, before we do go, what are you thinking captain-wise this week? Because I haven't thought a lot about it. Have you got any ideas, mate, just before we go, quick captaincy talk or a skipper selection maybe?
Yeah, so I'm going to VC Oliver, who plays on the Friday against your mob, the Lions. They are notorious for just letting midfielders pounce on them. So with no taggers, I'm backing in the pig on your boys. And if that goes to shit, we'll just a safe Bonapali against Fremantle on, ironically, I think it is the last game of the week. If he doesn't get tagged by Sarong, always a risk. But if that doesn't happen, he's going to absolutely pounce on them. So they're my plans. What about yourself, mate?
I like it, mate. Very, very similar, mate. I'm not a Bonds owner, but I'm with you. The pig, Clary. Look, mate, in the last couple of weeks, a 204, another 139, was it? Close to 140. He's just delivering in spades, this man. So Clary for me as vice captain, and then I'm going to go into Jack McRae. I think he's just the most logical option, in great form, great ceiling. Look, I'm hoping that I won't have to rely on my captain. I'm hoping that Clary can go a nice, at least 135 plus and make the decision for me. But yeah, that's where I'm going, mate. The pig into Jack McRae.
Unreal, mate. I look forward to that. Well, thank you so much for coming on this week. And until next time, we'll see you in the next podcast.
Good on you, Johnny. Cheers, guys.